myself, Tom, Chris, KJ, we all lean in a little bit. Like, so what's the Olympic gold shooter guy telling him? Let me steal a nugget of knowledge here. It's just like, Vince is talking. Shut up. Let's listen. It's awesome.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, I can't help it. I just want people to have fun.
I'm Ryan Gresham, and this is Gun Talk Nation. This Gun Talk Nation is brought to you by Vortex, Ruger, SDS Imports, Range Ready, B5 Systems, Secure It, and Ballistic Advantage. Hey, welcome into Gun Talk Nation. Today on Gun Talk Nation, a guy who's won more gold medals than most of us. Actually, all of us, probably. Vincent Hancock, welcome in, man.
Hey, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So, it's funny. One of the things that we've talked about for years at Gun Talk is one of the biggest sports in the Olympics as far as number of events goes is shooting. And a lot of people think of all these they think of, even random weird things like curling or water polo or whatever. And it's like, no, there's actually shooting is a big part of the Olympics. So you're heading back to represent the old USA, right?
Yes, I am. I get another chance. This will be my 5th time representing the U.S. at the Olympic Games. And honestly, each one's been so vastly different that I'm excited for an entirely new experience this time too.
So tell me if this is right. 3 gold medals in the Olympics. You've got like 7 gold, maybe 8 gold medals in the World Championships. 3 golds in the Pan American Games. Am I right on this?
It sounds about right. I lose track when it comes to the teams and mixed team and stuff like that, as far as the World Championships and things. But as far as individual medals go, I have 4 individual World Championships, but I know we've won several from the team and mixed team as well.
Yeah. So talk about your background. How did you get into this? Because you started at a pretty early age and started winning at a pretty early age.
Yeah, I got into this because of my dad. He was a competitive shooter when I was growing up. So I remember seeing pictures of myself in a baby stroller and back behind the firing line when he and my brother were shooting. And it just kind of evolved into, I was kind of expected, I'm going to shoot too. I did a lot of other sports. I never really thought that this would be my sport. And growing up when I was little, I was convinced that I was going to be a professional baseball player, but I definitely had no chance there. But it was fun. I grew up learning how to do anything and everything when it came to being an athlete. And so when I was 10, my dad took me out to the range, and that's really where I got my first start of legitimate clay shooting. And it was just outside of Atlanta at a little range in Covington, Georgia, and shot my first round of skeet. It evolved quickly from there into sporting clays, which was honestly one of my passions. Is still, I love shooting sporting clays. It's golf with a shotgun. It doesn't get much better than that. But it wasn't an Olympic sport. And when I found out that, I didn't even know until I was 12 that shooting was in the Olympics. So when I found that out, I was like, oh my gosh, we got to go try this. So we did. We went to Atlanta, where they held the 96 Olympics at. And day one, I tried it, shot really, really well. Looked at my parents, it's like, oh, I could totally do this. The next day, it was a Sunday. We went back and did it again, shot absolutely horrible. And it was on that drive home that Sunday evening that I told my parents, hey, this is what I want to do. I want to go to the Olympics, and I want to win a gold medal. Wow. And so it just it started. I knew that this was the most challenging thing I had ever faced to that point. And I was pretty good at it. I didn't think I would ever be where I'm at right now, but I knew that I wanted to try to be the best that I could be. And it just kind of morphed and took on a whole new form that I ever could have imagined.
That's amazing to me, because I've got kids, and to be, how old did you say, 12? I mean, to kind of say, okay, this is it. I think, number one, it's something I really like, and it's something I think I could be good at. And now we have the benefit of, hindsight, but like finding your purpose that early, right, is to say, no, this is seriously going to be like, this is what I'm going to do. That's wild.
It's pretty crazy, especially considering that I have a 12-year-old and a 13-year-old daughters, and both of them. My one daughter is set; she wants to go to medical school. She wants to. She runs track. She does a few other things, but who knows what they're going to do. My other one, she's just enjoying life.
Yeah.
She's a 12-year-old, and I'm looking at it and trying to compare myself. I'm like, don't do that. Each person is totally on their own. I was obsessive about things. I was definitely OCD, still am, but especially even back then, I would get hyper focused on things, and this just happened to be the one thing that I hyper focused on the most. And there were things put in my path that allowed me to be able to accomplish certain things pretty quickly.
Well,
Getting
you
into it now, it's a lot more difficult because the scores are a lot better than when I was
sure.
shooting at 12 years old.
Yeah. Well, you put that OCD, that focused ability, towards something, right? Kind of used it for good, not evil.
Yeah.
You mentioned like you weren't necessarily a big athlete guy, or you talking about playing baseball, but it seems to me, especially shotgun shooting, wing shooting, shooting clays, flying objects, hand-eye coordination, good eyesight. Those things are so important. They translate whether you're playing baseball or golf or basketball. I think a lot of those really good athletes that have that natural ability seem to be good shooters. I mean, do you find that to be true?
Definitely. I think that's one of the biggest things that helped me growing up was that I was whatever sport I was playing, I was always on the starting rotation. I was, the starting pitcher. I was the starting shortstop when I wasn't pitching. I was, either batting in the 3 or the 4 hole and playing basketball. I wasn't always the best basketball, but I was the best defensive player. I never could quite figure out how to shoot or dribble quite well enough,
Mm-hmm.
but on the track, I was in and I was one of the sprinters and doing all those things. So athletic ability plays a huge role into it, especially now that I'm looking at it from a perspective of a coach. The athletes that I look for are the ones that have the most athletic ability at the beginning because they can pick up things so much faster. And
Yeah.
it doesn't necessarily, you have to find the diamonds in the rough, of course, the ones that are motivated and driven and have athletic ability too. And you kind of have to go through and see what the athletes are capable of. But I'm at a point right now where I'm not a full time coach, but I'm a full time athlete, full time business owner, and then do the coaching on the side when I can. But the ones that I'm looking for right now is the ones that are seemingly the diamonds in the rough, the ones that are willing to uh, go out and work at it hard every single day on and off the range. But I also, one of the first things I ask him, okay, do you play any other sports? What sports do you play? And then I watch them shoot and I can tell, okay, this person's an athlete, or no, this person isn't an athlete, but you never know what that person can do. This might be their one sport. This could
Yeah.
be the one thing that they truly excel at the most. And it may just take them a little bit longer, but they can still get there. And so I'm a huge advocate of kids going out and playing sports. Even if they're not great at it, you're learning and developing that myelin fiber, that myelination of the muscles, and learning how to do things which people call hand-eye coordination.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, good. Well, you said you enjoyed sporting clays, but sporting clays still isn't an Olympic sport, right?
No, it's not, unfortunately.
So, you're a skeet guy, and describe, is that the primary, the only discipline that you compete in? Are there variations?
Yeah, that's the only discipline that I compete in.
Okay.
There's in the Olympics, there's international skeet, and then there's bunker trap. The American disciplines, you have American skeet and American trap, which are quite different. The skeet fields are the same, but I have different machines, different targets. I have a different sequence that I shoot through the course of the 8 stations. Trap and bunker trap are vastly different because American trap is one machine and with 5 stations, and then bunker trap is 15 machines with 5 stations. And it's still basically the thing that we have in common is that it's still 25 targets,
Right.
but everything is stacked against you on the Olympic side of things.
Yeah, explain that, because if someone's used to shooting skeet at their local club in Topeka,
Mhm.
Kansas, what you're shooting in Paris is going to be completely different. How is it different?
Yeah, so just to kind of go over the top. So our targets are a little bit shorter. They're 2 millimeters wider, but they're shorter. And so they're actually made a little bit heavier and denser because we have to throw the targets about 15 to 16 yards further. So in relation to miles per hour, depending on where you measure that at, it's about 10 to 15 miles an hour faster. American skeet, you get to start with the gun up in your shoulder, and when you call pull, the target comes out instantaneously. On mine, I have a line on my vest, which is basically the top of my hip bone, and the bottom of the butt of my gun has to break that line and in the ready position. So my gun is essentially down here, down again by my waist. And when I call pull, it's anywhere from 0 to 3 seconds. So I don't know when the target's coming out. American skeet, you only shoot 4 doubles. And international skeet, we shoot 8 doubles. Most of their targets are shot on the hardest stations, which are 3, 4, and 5, out in the center of the field, which is the most distance, the most angle on the targets, and therefore the most difficulty. On American skeet, you only have 6 targets on 3, 4, and 5 combined, and on international, we have 12. So there's a lot stacked against you, and they're just trying to find ways to make it even harder constantly.
Yeah, I mean, it's a totally different animal, and obviously a lot harder. Vincent, let's take a quick break. When we come back from the break, I want to talk about what makes someone a good wing shot. Military Armament Corporation, or a lot of people know them as MAC, they make a lot of cool guns, and double stack 1911s are kind of all the rage these days. People are loving shooting double stack 1911s and 9mm because they're low recoil, they're fun to shoot, they hold lots of ammo. Well, SDS Imports is the company that brings in MAC. They're based out of Knoxville, Tennessee, and they have the MAC 1911 double stack 9mm. But a lot of those 9mm are really expensive. And this one, MSRP is just over $1,000, almost $1,100 MSRP. So go check it out. It's a fun way to get into it. It's got the flared magwell. It's got the skeletonized trigger. It's got the pick rail on the front for lights, weights, accessories, coffee mugs, whatever you want to put on there. And it's a shooter. MAC, militaryarmamentcorp.com. If you want to have more fun than you know what to do with, go check out the Ruger Precision Rimfire Rifle. Yes, fully adjustable stock, but this is a 22 LR. It's a great training gun. It's a great gun if you wanted to get into precision rimfire competition as well. And it takes 1022 mags. They have in a lot of configurations and colors. They have special editions that are different Cerakote finishes that look really cool. And I've got one. You put a can on it. It's so much fun to shoot. You can learn more over at Ruger.com. B5 Systems. B5 is known for high-quality accessories for AR-15s, meaning stocks, hand guards, trigger guard, grips, those types of things. And there's actually a ton of companies, gun companies, that are putting B5 systems on the guns that you purchase. A lot of the big gun companies that you know and love use B5 stocks, hand guards, grips, because they're really high quality and they're actually making a lot for the military as well. You can learn more over at b5systems.com. Secure Gun Storage, they have long gun safes, they have handgun safes. One of the ones that's kind of neat is the Fastbox Model 360 drawer gun safe. So it slides out like a drawer. Perfect for under a bed, perfect for in particular vehicles. You can learn more over at secureitgunstorage.com. Vortex Optics, their newest line is the Viper HD line. When success rides on the perfect shot, you need versatility and exceptional optical performance of the Viper HD. Could be hunting, could be target shooting, but the Viper HD also boasts enhanced features for unmatched accuracy at extended ranges, while also excelling in the low light of dawn and dusk when the game is most active. The one I'm looking at is the 5 to 25 first focal plane VMR4 MOA reticle. This one is 5 to 25 power. This would be fantastic for doing some long-range shooting, from precision shooting, maybe varmints, maybe prairie dogs, whatever that might be. Go learn more over at vortexoptics.com. Stag Arms, known for AR-15s, but they brought out a bolt action, and people are excited about it. This is the Pursuit bolt action rifle, revolutionary firearm meticulously designed in collaboration with seasoned hunters and shooters, setting a new standard for off-the-shelf accuracy. Like that. Building on the timeless Remington 700 footprint, this rifle features an interchangeable 3-lug bolt head, 60-degree bolt throw, toolless quick disassemble bolt, and a pinned recoil lug, offering seamless blend of precision and reliability for every shooter. Chambered in .308 with an 18-inch barrel, they also have it in different configurations, 6.5. Maybe go check it out. You can learn more over at stagarms.com. So when I go out, and I love shooting clays, my problem is I shoot pistols, I shoot rifles, I shoot everything. So what they want you to do with pistol shooting or rifle shooting is almost opposite of what you guys want us to do as far as shooting birds, shooting clays. Don't look at the gun, look at the target. Don't hold the gun still, follow through. Just all of those things are just so different. But sometimes you go out and certain people just break more targets than others. And it seems to be like, what is that? What is the secret sauce? There's probably a bunch of it as far as going out and breaking targets. That's perhaps helpful for the regular Joes. What seems to be kind of the tricks that help people be better?
There's no one thing for sure. It's a combination of a lot of things. I mean, I've seen rifle shooters that were able to come out and do really, really well in the skeet and trap fields. I mean, impressively so. But those are the oddities because, again, like you said, it's the complete opposite of what we do shooting rifles and pistols, and which is difficult for me. That's why I prefer shooting a pistol with a red dot, something that I can just put the red dot on something that I'm looking at, and therefore it's easier for me to just go through that motion because I'm so used to looking at my target. And that's one of the things that when I'm asked what is one thing that you would recommend for hunters, it always comes back to the biggest thing that I can tell you, not the only thing, but the biggest thing is keep your eyes on the front of the target. So if you're shooting a clay target, you're looking very specifically at the bottom front edge. On a bird that's flying across, you're trying to look at the eyes or the beak. That's where you're trying to shoot it. Because you're looking at where the target's going, not where the target's been. Now, if you're looking at the target as a whole or the bird as a whole, typically you're going to shoot behind. Now, a lot of times, like duck hunting or goose hunting or anything like that, as a bird's coming across, a lot of people, you'll shoot and you'll see some feathers popping out the back, but the bird just keeps on going, right? That's because you're looking at the bird as a whole, looking at the wings, meaning the distracting part the moving part that your eyes are drawn to. And you might have the right lead on for the wings, but it's not the right lead to put the pellets in the right spot on the bird to actually get it to drop. So do as good as you possibly can to be very focused and precise with where your eyes are, because your eyes lead your hands, and the hands are what moves the gun. So if I can give you anything, that's the thing, is look in a very precise location at the front of whatever you're going to shoot at.
That's a great tip. My grandfather was a really good shotgun shooter. He was also like a minor league baseball player, so the hand-eye coordination thing, but he would have a phrase he would use for himself or for others, perhaps, out there shooting clays. And he'd say, you're getting lazy eyes. You're looking kind of in general in the direction of the target, but you're not really looking at the target. People say seeing the seams of a fastball, but for clays, seeing the dimples on the clay. I mean, that's possible to do if you're looking hard enough at it. Looking at the front edge will help people be better. It's such a challenging sport. Let's talk about the Olympics. You've been to the Olympics several times. This is your fourth one. Is that right?
This will be my fifth.
Fifth one. Okay.
Yep.
That has to be interesting, especially in a sport where gun laws are different. The shooting and gun culture is different. If you're in Rio de Janeiro or Paris or wherever, what's it like traveling over there and shooting guns? I mean, and I know you do this outside of the Olympics as well. What's that like traveling internationally for what you do?
For the most part, it's usually not any issues. And honestly, well, I get recognized more going overseas to these other countries because shooting is a bigger sport. Here in the U.S., we're kind of blessed and cursed, where we have an amazing opportunity to own and use firearms on a very open basis, and we have that right tool to do so uh, across the whole country. Whenever we go somewhere else, oftentimes that's not the case. But we also are on the side that we're cursed. We have so many good athletes and so many big time sports that all the little sports that win Olympic medals or anything like that, we just get overlooked. And it's not just shooting. There's so many other ones out there that get overlooked. If we were doing this in China, or if we were doing this in the Middle East, or are we doing this in South America, with a country that doesn't win, 60 gold medals every time they go out, you get looked at as an entirely different class of athlete than you do here in the U.S. So honestly, it's we get treated very well when we go overseas, whether it be Cyprus, Italy, Qatar, UAE, China, Japan, all those places. Yes, the gun laws may be a little bit difficult sometimes, but they keep it pretty simple for us. And we pick our guns up, go through customs. It may take a few hours, which kind of sucks after a long flight, and we have to go through that whole arduous process. And then we take our guns to the armory at the facility that we're competing at, and we go to our hotels. We check everything in, and then they keep them there. We just check them out every day we go. We shoot on the range and then turn them back in again. So they keep it pretty simple. But for the most part, you'll have a little bit of difference here and there. But like when we went to France, honestly, I stopped at the customs and it's like, hey guys, I have a firearm. They're like, oh, what are you here for? I'm here for the Grand Prix. All right, man, you're good. Go ahead. Like,
Wow.
you don't want to look at my forms? You're like, no, we know you're here. Just go. It's fine. Like, okay, that's not what I'm used to.
Wow.
But it was,
Jeez.
yeah, just very different.
Do you guys usually have some sort of like local assistance, a handler of some sort to help you not kind of navigate that?
Thankfully, yes. Wherever we
Yeah.
go, the ISSF or the International Shooting Sports Federation, they will always have at the organizing committee, so the host country, they'll have people at the airports basically 24/7 from the beginning to the end of the competition, making sure that anybody that's coming in or going out is taken care of. They know where to go. We have official transportation, all those places, and especially the Olympics. And it's very easy, and they handle it all very well. But even for our World Cups or World Championships that we attend, they're always going to have somebody in place that's taking care of people getting in and going out of the country.
That's interesting. Yeah, I've traveled with guns internationally a few times, and I mean, I've only done it a few times, Vince, and I've got all kinds of interesting little anecdotal stories about sitting in Guadalajara or Argentina or whatever, going, God, I'm glad we have somebody to help us with this because I don't speak the language, and they're going like, now go over here, now go over there, now go over here. I think I walked around the Buenos Aires airport for about 2 hours one day, just trying to, connect flights.
Yeah. Oh, we definitely still experience that too. We're not above that. We just have somebody that's walking us through. So I'm
Yeah.
very thankful that we at least have that.
So you started out young, and you made this a career, which for most people, you tell a 12-year-old, you're going to shoot shotguns professionally. That's pretty cool if you like to shoot shotguns. Now I know you're coaching, you're doing a lot of different things. Somebody listening to this and they're thinking, wow, I could do this, or maybe my kid or my grandkid or whatever could do this. They're actually a very good shooter. I mean, where does someone start when they're thinking about college scholarships or AMU or, being part of USA shooting? There's just, where do you start and what's needed?
Uh, First and foremost, it's a lot of dedication and time. Understanding that it's going to take time to get to the Olympic discipline, the height of the Olympic discipline, because looking at it on average, it takes about 8 years from the time you start your Olympic journey to making a team. That's the average number of years that it takes a male or a female to make the team. So that's a long time. And you're not going to get a whole lot back out of it before you make it to the Olympics. And things can be expedited if you have a really, really good coach, in which there are very few in the United States that do that well. But that process it's just difficult. And you have to
Mm.
understand that you're going to face a lot of hurdles in getting there, because everybody that's going out and competing, they're all expecting the same thing. But the way that I look at it, if I'm starting somebody out from scratch, I'll take them to the American skeet field and say, okay, I need you to shoot American skeet, and I'll work with them, get the process down, get all the basics and understanding, and say, okay, you can't go shoot international skeet until you've shot 100 straight here. As soon as you do, then we can talk about going. But at the same time of you practicing American skeet, I also need you at home practicing 100 gun mounts, slow 5 to 6 second gun mounts, training your muscles, training your mind, the sight picture, all those things every single day, preferably twice a day. So you're looking at spending probably an hour and a half outside of the range. Then you're looking at spending 2 to 2.5 hours on the range every day. And then you've got to go do, if it's a kid, they still got to go to school. They've got to do physical training. They've got to do all these other things. So it's not something that you're going to just take lightly, especially now as the sport's progressing more into a professional sport. And when I first got into it, it was still an amateur discipline. But
Hmm.
now people are truly taking this as their sport. I mean, we have turned this into a profession over the last 20 years, and the scores are reflective of that. Our scores are higher than they've ever been. It's so difficult to just make the U.S. team, let alone go overseas and trying to win a medal. And so you just have to understand that you have to go step by step. It's a process. It's a long process. But if you can get there, then that's what it's all about. It's all about accomplishing a dream, and dreams don't come easy. You know, if it was super easy, everybody would be doing it. We'd have tens of thousands of people lining up to do all this. But that's the nice thing about the Olympics. We have a Super Bowl every year. We have a World Series every single year. We only have an Olympics once every 4, and that is the culmination. The Olympics are the greatest sporting spectacle the world has ever seen, because we'll have 6 billion people watching the Olympics when it goes on this summer. And putting that into perspective, that's a lot of people. That's a lot more than watch any other sporting discipline. The World Cup in soccer is the closest thing that it gets to it. But we have an opportunity to go out and do something great and to have a lot of fun doing it. And shooting shotguns, we have rifle and pistol in the Olympics too, but shooting shotgun, it's a lot of fun because you get to see that target blow up every time. You get immediate feedback, and shoot, I've gotten to travel the world to do it now. So every minute of every day that I've put in has made it worth it.
Yeah, to be fair, I think that the shotgun portion is it's more TV friendly, right? It's more viewer friendly. They know
Yeah.
what happened. I mean, the air rifle people are amazing, but they're shooting one whole groups for a bunch of shots, and you're like, I don't know. It's measured with this electronic target. It's got microphones. It's maybe perhaps not as exciting to watch, but and also what's great is just like other sports that are maybe get less attention throughout the year. Now it's bringing more people into it to watch it and go, this is a big deal. And these are serious athletes, whether that's here in the US or other places. They're seeing people shoot guns and compete in target shooting and going, this is normal. It looks fun. Man, we need to get out there. I think it just re-energizes the interest of people for those things. Now, you mentioned, the ability to actually be a pro at this. And that's
Mhm.
something that didn't exist perhaps in the past, not as much. I know that, especially internationally, there are some really big matches, tournaments for this. Talk about some of that, because I've seen stuff over the years. I've seen Derek Mine doing his thing and all these guys. Explain to people how wild it is when you guys, especially I'm thinking like the Middle East, you guys go over there, and how big these events are.
It gets pretty crazy, honestly, because like when we were competing at the World Championships in 2018 in Korea, we had seemingly half the government there watching us. And there was hundreds of people back behind us watching us just for a basic event in northwest of Busan. But you go, and some of the people that are competing are royalty from around the entire world. One of the guys that competes is the um, oh gosh, now I'm gonna forget where he's from, but he's a duke in Great Britain. And then we've got people that are monarchs that are competing from the Middle East, and you name it, professional race car drivers like my friend Nasser Al Attiyah from Qatar. He's a professional rally car driver, And he does this on the side. He's an Olympic medalist from 2012, but his first passion was shooting, and then his second passion was driving. And he just so happened to be really, really good at both, so he does both for his country.
Wow.
And being able to do that, but then going to the competitions. And when we were in China in 2009, they were broadcasting our competition on their national broadcast channel with however many millions, hundreds of millions of people watching, because shooting is one of the biggest sports in China. And I was just looking at this World Cup in Baku last week. They won 16 medals between rifle, pistol, and shotgun. And the U.S., to put that in perspective, the U.S. won 2,
Wow.
and it was in shotgun alone. So we've got China takes shooting very, very seriously, and they're investing a lot of time and a lot of money into their athletes. And that's where, looking at the U.S., we are probably still the most amateur of them all, because we're the only ones that aren't government funded. We're not getting tons of funding. We have to rely on sponsorships. And
Mm-hmm.
my two biggest sponsors, which are Beretta and Federal Ammunition, I couldn't do this without them.
Yeah.
And to other Team USA athletes, they're having to work other jobs, or they're having to do other things to be able to support this very expensive habit and hobby. But it's worth it, because we're all chasing a dream. So no matter where you go around the world, no matter the size of the competition, we max out a lot of our competitions, because we can only bring 3 competing athletes from each country. And oftentimes you'll find 90 countries represented, or even more, at a World Cup or a World Championships.
Wow.
And the ranges can only hold so many people. And it's like this World Cup coming up in Italy will be maxed out. I think skeet maxes out at 180 something, and trap will max out over 200, because they can shoot faster rounds.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people around the world that want to do this. It's the fastest growing sport in India, and they've got now qualifiers, like multiple regional qualifiers, to get to their national championships. And they're holding like 5-day national championships now, for like 5 or 6 rounds. It's crazy what they're doing. And there are 300-400 people shooting at their nationals. So
That's
there is
unreal.
a growth perspective in the world that we are starting to kind of break the edge of here, because it's a fast growing sport here in the US on the shotgun side. And between the High School Clay Target League, the USA Yes, Scholastic Clay Target Program, all these youth grassroots organizations, that's where we're seeing the growth. And now we as Team USA have to see about looping them in and getting more of them involved. And that's one of the reasons why I have my shooting facility here, North Lake Shooting Sports. We opened because of youth. We have between 400 and 500 kids on high school teams that shoot here every single week. And
Wow.
that's what we need. We need more of those things. I know that's way off topic. I'm talking about how big the shooting events are, but it all comes back to growth. We have seen an immense amount of growth over these last few years, and we need to continue that and try to do the R3 initiative. Recruit, retain, and reactivate as much as we possibly can, because if we want to keep it as an Olympic sport, we have to show growth.
Yeah, absolutely. And in order to do that, they have to have places to shoot. They have to have the support. You're talking about the support of your sponsors. I mean, some of these countries we compete against, it's government funded. I'm going to go back to something, because you said the shooting events were broadcast on national Chinese TV. And me being a media guy, we know the shooting sports may or may not get airtime during the Olympics, but it may be on, the Universal Network or one of these other different tier cable systems, right? And the Chinese market is 3 times, 4 times as large as ours. So I mean, that's enormous exposure. We're also starting to see, we have the corporate sponsorships as far as like gun industry type folks like Federal and Beretta. They had a big shoot that I think we're 2 or 3 years in, what is Jack Links putting up a bunch of money to sponsor a shoot down in Florida, right?
Yep. Yeah,
So, I mean,
exactly.
it's nice to see that type of support from a non-gun industry corporate entity.
I totally agree. And that's one of the things that's been really tough is the non-endemic sponsors. The endemic sponsors, they get tasked all the time to do the various and innumerable events that we have between rifle, pistol, and shotgun. And they're tapped pretty close. But a lot of the non-endemic sponsors, if they're willing to step out into the market, they find that this is a really big market. And the shooting sports make up billions of dollars worth every year. And people are a little bit shy from it because it has the word gun in it, right? Shooting.
Mm-hmm.
But what they're finding is, okay, if we step off and we can, handle or put up with the negative comments that'll come about, but there's always gonna be negative comments from anybody, no matter what you're trying to do. If you just weather that for a little bit, it goes away, and you open yourself up to just a huge market that has a lot of money to be able to put forward, because it's not a cheap sport, and people are
No.
willing to spend money in this sport. So if you're able to do that, and that's awesome. Now, I've been trying to tap into some of those things as sponsors, and I've had a few. I've had some banking partners in the past and some other stuff like that. But it would be a lot of fun to just do something different with a sponsor one time, and just break out of the mold of just the shooting sports and introduce it to a lot more people.
And I think perhaps the shotgun sports is a pretty good gateway for that. I think that a lot of people think about shooting trap and skeet. That's their general phrase for anything shotguns, right? It's I went and shot skeet. What'd you shoot? I don't know. It was like golf with a shotgun. Well, maybe you didn't shoot skeet, but that's okay, right? But it's a great gateway to get people into it. It feels accessible. Also, I'll say that a lot of the shotgun facilities are like country clubs. They're very nice. They have restaurants and bars, and I mean, they've got just very nice facilities. And so, if you're going to host a corporate event, it works great for that. I know I'm in the South, so we actually have corporate events that are sporting clay shoots, skeet shoots, just like people would have a golf tournament. So that's kind of like normal thing around here. But it's a great way to get people involved. I think that, short of like shooting 22s, it's probably the best way to get people involved, and it's cool. Vince, as we're kind of wrapping up here, I want to tell a funny little anecdote that you may not even realize happened. So we've been going to Beretta hosts a big range day the day or two before SHOT Show each year, and I think we've gone the last 2 or 3 years, and there was a funny little moment where I was there, and our team, KJ, Chris Serino, and then my dad, Tom Gresham, we're walking around, we're shooting the different guns. And of course they got you working out there doing the shotgun stuff. And I was like, oh, there's Vincent Hancock. That's cool. And then we're standing there kind of waiting to shoot, and you start coaching somebody up because you can't help yourself. That's what you do. And you're coaching them up, and I see myself, Tom, Chris, KJ, we all lean in a little bit like, so what's the Olympic gold shooter guy telling him? Let me steal a nugget of knowledge here. It's just like, Vince is talking. Shut up. Let's listen. It was awesome.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, I can't help it. I just want people to have fun. That's the biggest thing. That's what I started with, was I was having fun. And over the years, it's gone from having fun to feeling like a job, and sometimes not wanting to be there anymore, to full circle. Now I'm back to having fun every time I get to go out and shoot. And I am looking forward to walking out the door here in a few minutes and going out and practicing, and just knowing that I get to do what I love on a daily basis. So if I can help somebody hit more targets and have more fun and put a smile on their face, that's my goal.
That's awesome. You're blessed, man. And here's the thing. I think shooting is one of the easiest disciplines where someone can go from horrible to actually having fun and doing well in a very short amount of time. I mean, you could spend 20 minutes with somebody and have them just breaking clays, right?
You get a lot out of the sport, and that's what I always tell people, is you get out of the sport what you put into it. It's one of the very few things in life that you can actually say, hey, if you go and spend an hour on the range a few times a week, you'll be really good. And not just decent, you'll be pretty darn good. You can hit a lot of targets that way. And go out and just spend a couple hours a week in golf, you're not going to get much better. Right? It takes a lot of work there. And yes, while we're very, very similar in process and mentality to golf, shooting sports is something that you can do your entire life. And my dad shot with a guy on his 100th birthday, and
That's amazing.
I had my girls shooting at 8 years old. Not much, just little bits here and there, but they remember it. And so they'll do that until they don't want to anymore, until they can't, if they want. And I'll be doing the exact same. So This is a very unique sport, and that's why I just wish I can. It's all we have. It's another reason why we have this shooting range is to introduce people to the shooting sports to help make a difference.
So tell people about your shooting range. Where is it? How can they find out more what you're doing?
Yeah, it's North Lake Shooting Sports, and it's northlakeshootingsports.com. We're located just north of Fort Worth and the DFW area, and so we're 25 minutes door to door from the DFW airport, and we're 2 miles from Texas Motor Speedway. So we're very
Oh,
centrally
perfect.
located in DFW, and easy access right off the interstate. And we focus on. We've got a little hidden gem back here. We feel like country. You drive back to us. There's no houses around. There's no buildings around. It's just Corps of Engineers land surrounding us and our little 150 acres. We've got trap, skeet, 5 sand, and now 3 sporting clays courses as well, and just constantly trying to make this place better.
That's awesome. I usually pass through there at least once or twice a year. We were in Grapevine this past December, so I'll have to hit you up next time I'm coming through there.
Absolutely. Love to have you.
Well, man, good luck this summer. We'll be watching. Best of luck to you, man.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right, Vincent Hancock. He's going to be representing the USA in the Olympics again. So you guys are going to have to tune in. That's it for us. We'll see you next time on Gun Talk Nation.